Well, hi there. I'm Michael Hausum of the Hausum Group at Vista Pacific Realty, and this is the Orange County Real Estate Marketplace Update for the week ending August 17th. So we're 7.5 months into the year, and one thing we can now say for certain is that it is a much better real estate market than it was last year. Take a look at these couple of numbers. Over the last 3 months, from May through July, these are the changes compared to last year. Listing inventory in the last 3 months is unchanged, whereas last year during this time period, it was up 17%. There was a lot more houses for sale. Demand, on the other hand, in the last 3 months is down 2%, whereas last year this time, it had been down 10% over the period. That's a huge difference. Right now, for the last 3 months, estimated marketing time is up 1%, whereas last year during this time period, estimated marketing time jumped 30%. Now, to be very clear, the second half of last year was not a good real estate market, and just because it's much better than last year doesn't necessarily mean it's a great real estate market. So what exactly does this mean? What it means is this: things are basically flat and unchanged. I get people occasionally, including a guy I talked to yesterday, "Oh, the bottom's going to fall out of the real estate market." Probably not. Probably not. So what this basically means, it's a fairly balanced market right now, and that is not a bad thing. However, if you're a buyer and you're going to expect to get a huge discount on a price, it's probably not going to happen unless you're looking at buying at the super duper high end of Orange County real estate. And on the other hand, as a seller, if you think that you're going to get a bunch more money for your house just because your neighbor happened to sell and you think that a couple of months has gone by and the house is appreciated, that's probably not going to happen either. Let's take a look at inventory levels. Over the last 2 weeks, inventory is down 1%. Now, I've been saying for the past couple of months that a very telltale sign is going to be if inventory tapers off in August like usual, or if it's going to continue to increase just like it did last year. Well, looky here. Over the last couple of weeks, it does seem that inventory levels are slightly coming down and tapering off. Now, it's still more homes than was on the market last year and in previous years, but if the trend continues, that most likely won't last for long. Demand, on the other hand, is up 4% in the last 2 weeks. That's the biggest first half of August increase in demand in 6 years. So that's an interesting change. So as a result of this, inventory levels coming down a little bit, demand levels going up, expected marketing time has slightly dropped. 2 weeks ago, we were just barely into balanced market territory at 91 days. Well, that's ratcheted back a little bit and is now down to 86 days, just ever so barely a seller's market. Now, getting into details on the demand, let's break it out by price. Under $1 million is where 57% of the county's inventory sits, but it's 80% of the sales right now. In this range, it's definitely a seller's market, a few points stronger than it was 2 weeks ago. Under $1 million, this is where all the action is. Between $1 million and $1.25 million, it's a balanced market, as it has been for weeks. Between $1.25 million and $1.5 million, it's still a buyer's market, but ever so barely. It got 17 points stronger over the last 2 weeks in the favor of sellers. Now, as it's been all year long, above $1.5 million, it's definitely a buyer's market. But in the last 2 weeks, it's actually gotten weaker at the higher end. So lastly, let's take a look at 5 different cities and drill down into the details of those. In Costa Mesa, estimated marketing time right now is at 78 days. That is a seller's market, and it's 18 points less than it was 2 weeks ago. A year ago, it was 86 days expected marketing time in Costa Mesa, and right now, homes are selling for 98.6% of their asking price. In Huntington Beach, it's a strong seller's market at 69 days, identical to 2 weeks ago, and almost exactly the same as it was a year ago. Homes in Huntington, 98.9% of their asking price. Now in Irvine, it's almost a buyer's market at 119 days expected marketing time, 6 points weaker than it was 2 weeks ago. Last year, it was almost a seller's market in Irvine at 93 days. Homes in Irvine are selling for 97.5% of their asking price. Down south in Ladera Ranch, it's a seller's market at 78 days expected marketing time, which is a 29-point drop from 2 weeks ago when it was almost up in buyer's market territory. A year ago in Ladera, it was at 85 days expected marketing time. Interesting, for the second week in a row, homes in Ladera are selling for in excess of their asking price. Lastly, in Newport Beach, it's still a buyer's market, 224 days expected marketing time, a 45-day jump from 2 weeks ago. It's becoming more of a buyer's market in Newport Beach. Last year was almost identical at 225 days. As a result of this, homes in Newport are selling for 96.5% of their asking price. Now, if you'd like more details on other cities, I have those. Also, if you'd like to hear my strategies and the systems that I use for home buyers and home sellers, please contact me. You can call me at 949-413-2371. You can also email me, michael@housemgroup.com. Also, at the end, if you hold on, onto the screen, you'll see here and here and up here, there will be 3 different boxes. Those are links to playlists for home buyers, home sellers, and mortgage borrowers. There's some pretty interesting information on there. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Hi there. So we are 7.5 months into the year.